All right, people. We got the show live from USA. Sharenika and family. You know what I mean, and Jasmine, and we have the guest Keisha Letman. All right, so Sharenika, so yours, girl.
Yes. Okay. Hey, everybody. So we're coming all the way from United States. Your host, SHARENIKA JASMNIE, co-host, Jasmine Williams. I want you guys to call in at 079-444-31366. Based out of London, UK. Call with your questions. Call with your statements, even if you have a word of encouragement, on Bless Radio on Unified Platforms. So we're going to get the day started. We have our special guest, Miss Keisha. This is a story. When I say you don't want to miss, this is a powerful story, and I'm sure even if you missed the beginning part of it or you missed the show, tune back in at www.blessradio1.com to hear the full show, because I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this. And so we're going to get straight to it. The topic we're going to be talking about today is how being locked up can change your life for the better or worse. And so, Miss Keisha, give us a little background for the people, for the audience, and if anybody have questions come in, after you get done talking, I'll let you know the questions. And if Jasmine have any questions, talking and ask you questions. So, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Keisha. I am 39 years old. I have one son. His name is Caden. He's 7. I was born in Detroit. I moved to South Carolina from New York, and I'm here in South Carolina. I don't like it, but I'm here doing my job.
Gotcha. So you like the New York lifestyle?
No, I don't. I can't say that I really like the New York lifestyle. I just know that the South is, I think I'm too big of, not, big as in like above everybody else, but I think like my personality is just too big for this little old town that I'm in, if that makes sense.
No, it made perfect sense. I totally understand. Because sometimes it'll put you in, it'll make you uncomfortable if you're being around small-minded people and your mind is bigger than that. And so it makes it hard to even communicate with people, because like, they're not on my level. Or it don't mean you arrogant. It just means you confident and you know who you are. So, and you know your worth. So
even if I hadn't always acted on it, I just know, yeah, that's right. It's like being suffocated.
So we're gonna get straight to the point. And Miss Keisha, I know you had said a little bit about your story regarding being locked up. Can you tell us and the listeners, because somebody may be listening now that's incarcerated, somebody might be listening because they might have someone that they know went through a similar situation, and by hearing your testimony can help them. So can you tell a little bit about what you've been through, and how that, would you say it was a blessing or a curse? Tell us a little bit about what you went through. Show us and let us feel that moment of where you was at, if that makes sense.
It does. Okay, so I feel like, everything bad. Let me say, the gift and the curse, I feel like I didn't realize it until I lost my mom. So that's like, that was the life changer for me, because my dad, let's see, I think it's like 10 of us. I mean, I'm kind of losing count now, but my dad is 10 of us. It's 7 girls and 2 boys and myself. So by my mom, I was the only child, and even though I wasn't raised in the household with my mom, I left my mom to go be with my grandma in New York when I was 5. But my mama was like really active in my life. It didn't feel like I didn't have a mama. I just felt like I had two mamas. So when my mama died, when I was 25, like life was great. I mean, everything. I never had to worry about, bills. I just never had to, I didn't have a worry in the world. If I did have one, it was like my mama would take care of it before it even became a problem. So,
Right.
After, when I lost my mama, like I literally lost myself. When I say I lost myself, I wanted to die, but I was too scared to do it myself. And it's like, so I'm a believer in Christ and God. And so I'm looking to God like, okay, you know what I want to do. So why we just can't do this thing? And that's just not what he wanted to do. That's not what he had in mind. And, if you believe in God, or if you know him like I know him, then he don't move when you want him to move. He moves when he gets ready to move, or when he think you're ready for the movement. So
Right.
with that being said, I was just very unhappy. I was sad. I was just miserable. Like, now being in a position where I look over my life and I'm like, okay, the issues that I'm currently dealing with, and I'm like, well, okay, what would fix them? Money. Money is just about what would take care of most of the things that frustrate me, like right now. Not being able to get to work without having to rent a car, or not having the money that I need to fix my car. So, money right now. But then when I lost my mama, I had more money than I knew what to do with. I never had to worry about money. Like, money was at my availability. If I wanted to go to the teller 100 times a day, I could do that. But that's not what mattered to me. That's just not where my happiness was. So in that time when I lost my mama, I'm like, in this point, there's no shame. It was just such a miserable and just devastating and tragic time. Like, I literally did what I felt like I needed to do to get by, or to get through each day. Like I said, I wanted to die, but I just knew, like, that I feel like that's just the one thing that God he's not going to forgive me for. So I just really couldn't let him down like that. So I just had to go through, and I did whatever I needed to do to go through, besides like physically trying to cause harm to other people. Like, I really just hurt myself. And I got hooked on 2 weeks before my mama died. My mama died on November the 13th, 2006. And to some people, that seemed like, okay, well, it's 2021. You ought to be good. No, I ain't good. I mean, I don't know if other people, if that's something they can get over, or if they have, I tip my hat. I don't know how, but that's awesome. But it seems like yesterday to me, because it doesn't get any easier. And so my mom passed on November the 13th. Now, this is somebody, my parents, and when I say this, it'll make sense a little later maybe. Both of my parents were heroin addicts. My dad was a needle pusher, and my mom, she sniffed it like you would sniff cocaine. However, they were both good parents. Like, you weren't going to tell me, and you still to this day can't tell me that they weren't the best, to ever do it. My dad, thank God, he is in treatment. I mean, he's recovering, but he's not using right now. He's doing good. He's taking care of all his children. He still helped me. So, life is different for him now. My mom, before she passed, I was able to move her down here. She got clean. My mama was always a working addict. She worked for 36 years at General Motors, never skipped a beat. Like, if she was dope sick, whatever kind of sick, she went to work. So and she always took care of me. So that right there, you know, that says a lot about the type of people that they are.
Right.
So with that being said, my mama died on November the 13th. But during the time when, and that's the reason why I was sent to live with my grandma in New York, because I guess, you know, my mama really just tried to shield me from anything that she thought was going to be harmful to me. And that's how I ended up with my grandma. And, you know, my grandma died. But these were just awesome people who just kind of kept me from the world. Like, we know the world is not forgiving. They don't care nothing about you, your job. They don't care if you're sick, you're dying, you're on your deathbed, when you're coming back to work. Like, the world don't stop rolling, and the world is cruel. And so, you know, you got this little girl who, you know, just want to see so much good in everybody in the world. And, you know, everybody got a scheme for every day of the week because nobody want to go to work. So, and that kind of messed me up because, you know, I'm thinking, oh, here I am. I lost my mama. And coming from somebody who, I think I was smoking cigarettes, maybe like experimenting with cigarettes or something when my mama was living. But I don't even think like I was smoking weed like that or nothing. I went to school. I went to college. I went to work. I was that child that when my mama, you know, fell off or when she had a bad moment, like I picked up a second job to give her some money, you know, to help her out till she, you know, got over whatever. So now she done died, and I'm standing here. You know, I had my son's father. We're not together anymore. Like, I was with him for 26 years, but he's like a best friend. So he been there from the beginning to now. Good, the bad, the ugly, everything. So I have this one person that I'm dependent upon, looking for happiness in, and just nothing was right. I mean, I was just miserable. So I couldn't kill myself. So what I did was these pills that the doctor gave me, because I had surgery 12 days. I had surgery November the 1st. My mama died on November 13th. So the medicine that they gave me for surgery, I wasn't even using it, you know, for my surgery. But when my mama died, I remembered, like, okay, this medicine made me sleepy. And I couldn't die. I couldn't kill myself. So the next best thing, go to sleep. Like, you don't know what's going on in the world when you sleep. You're dead. I mean, you know, until you wake up again. So that's what I did. That was like the beginning of my coping, to just try to sleep my way through it until God felt like, okay, now you're gonna die. Okay, 2021, I'm still here. I'm still living. So I got hooked on these pills, and this was during a time where I was working for DSS. That was my first professional job because I went to school for social work. I'm a social worker. And I was the social worker for my county that I still live in, Child Protective Services. And I was making like almost $30,000 a year. Like, I had an apartment. My rent wasn't very much. Like, for somebody else, a 26-year-old, that's the life. Like, you ain't got no kids. You got a nice car. You ain't got no rent. Girl, I was miserable. Like, I had it all except for my mama, and that just didn't work for me. So that was the beginning of an addiction, this pill addiction. And it may sound crazy, but, you know, I've always been that person scared to experiment with stuff. And I'm glad I've been scary, because had I not been, then I probably really would be in a worse position. So the pills, that was like the beginning of a disaster. And can you see me, Shirley?
Yeah, I can see you. That's me. I was sharing the screen. That's probably had got you confused. But yeah, that's a powerful testimony so far. And And I know you said you was your mother only daughter. As for your siblings on your dad's side, do you have a relationship with your siblings?
I do and I don't. Like my sisters, like everybody be so mad at me. Everybody be so mad with me because I'm so nice. And my sisters and them, they don't be with that nice stuff. They like I call them some little thugs because, like my son's father, I really catch a lot of heat because I'm just not, my faith, like when you ain't got nothing, I'm talking about nothing. And when I say nothing, you have tangible things and you have people. But when it don't really amount to anything as far as like your happiness, a peace of mind, then to me that's the same as nothing. So you got a whole bunch of stuff that amounts to nothing, and it's like, I know that my faith is the only thing that has gotten me through because I've been down to my last. Like right now, I mean, I just started back working or whatever, and like I really go through a lot with people because it's really hard for me to do people how they do me. Like even with my son's father, and when I want to get mad, and I'm like, when you know everything about a person, the good, the bad, and the ugly, oh, how easy is it for you to destroy somebody's life or embarrass them or whatever it is, or make them feel as bad as you? But then what is there to gain on that? So, my faith tells me, like, Keisha, are you really in a position where you could afford to forfeit a blessing by doing something to somebody else? No, you can't. Okay, so however you feel, do you want somebody? Do you really want that person that you hard down love? Do you really want them to feel as bad as you? No, you really don't. So, the world has taught us, like, when somebody do something to you, you're supposed to retaliate. But no, sometimes, I don't know who said it first, but it just stuck with me. Sometimes you just got to love the hell out of somebody, because even like my son's father, I love him so much, like, but he has caused me pain. But when I think about, okay, Keisha, you've caused him pain too, so you're not exempt. And sometimes we forget karma, whatever you want to call it. It might be 15 years down the line, and you feel like, well, I've been walking this fine line for so long, but right, but it's gonna come back to you, and when it come back to you, you just gotta be man or woman or bold enough in your faith to be like, there was a time. So, and you also gotta realize this is some things like prison. You can't go around, you can't go over, you can't go under, you can't carve a back door. You are just literally going to have to go through. No amount of money or whatever, the best lawyer or whomever. I mean, God got the final say so, and you got to go through.
Oh, it was on mute. My bad. When did the situation? And that's a powerful testimony. And as for your siblings, is they all your siblings in New York, or are all of them scattered like all around the United States?
No, my sisters, all of them are in Detroit. My dad and my sisters, they all live in Detroit, and the thing with my sisters is, like, I was going, like, when my mother passed, I would go to I would just, like, that's probably the only thing that I use my money for, to go back and forth to Detroit. Like, I would book a flight at the drop of a heartbeat. And my sisters, they, even though they're not as, so nice as me, but they are definitely, like, in my corner. They're not those sisters that like some, and I'm the oldest, but it's like I have a. I'm 30. I'm 39. My sister under me, I think Diamond's 24, 19, 18. So they're not friendly, but they're always there. If that makes any sense. Like if my 19-year-old sister, like her and my dad, they are like, if I call them and I need something, then they there. Like they talk, they trash, but it's out of love. They really kind of sort of hate that I'm down here.
Gotcha. And they in Detroit as well, right?
Yeah, they're in Detroit.
Gotcha. So when did let's get to the incident. I know you said you was a social worker, and then how long was you a social worker?
I got my degree in 2005, and like I said, my mom, she passed in 2006. So I worked at DSS for probably a year. But when my mama passed away, I resigned because I just couldn't go to work every day, and I stayed out of work probably 2 years maybe. I just probably went back and forth to Detroit and stayed down here with my grandma and my uncle, and I started working for DFACS in Georgia with foster kids. That's always been my passion, working with foster kids or just children. So I worked, after I took those 2 years off, I worked, back in my field until, and sadly but true, I did all of this in active addiction. Like I got up every day and went to work to help these children and these families that were going through, a lot of the stuff that I realized they were going. I understood, and sometimes and I say that I understood because you'll go into like an office, a DSS office, and I see it way too often. You looking at somebody across this desk, and they're looking at you. They're supposed to be the people that help you, link you with these resources, but here they're looking at you like you trash. Like, why you coming in here? Like, what can I do for you? What do you think you can do for me? You're in the wrong position. So sometimes you have to meet people in the middle to understand, or to even try to understand what they're going through, or to try to help them. And I feel like, sometimes experience is the best teacher. How is it that you can give me the blueprint on something that you never experienced a day in your life? Some people may feel like that. And yeah, there are certain things that you will find in a textbook or a book, but it's not going to, give you the same experience. So I went to work every day and, did a better job with helping other people put their life back together. And I really feel like because I didn't know where to start with myself, I just poured so much into everybody else. And I was effective and I was successful in that until my record changed. And that was like the deal breaker for me.
Now, as for your record change, what you mean by your record change?
I mean, like I went from a social worker with a clean background, and I ended up with a felony. So, like that itself has been a whole different experience, and I kind of understand it from both sides of the fence now. Before it may have been easier for me to say, well, you can find a job if you just do this, or you can find a job if you just do that. But being that person that And I so vividly remember one of my good friends telling me, she said, Keisha, she said, you always get a good job. And she never lied, because I had the skills, I had the personality, I had the background, and then on top of that, I was blessed. So she was exactly right. And then you go from basically looking at whatever job it was that you saw that you wanted, based off of the qualifications, if you had them. And if I said that I wanted that job, I got that job, and they were good jobs. And you know, one day I got up and I was on my way to the store and to get my baby some breakfast, and I hit somebody like right up the street from my house. And this guy was my neighbor for a long time when I stayed in the apartments right up the street from my house. Like I said, I live in a very small town, and even where I live now, and even the car that I had this accident in, I still have that. And I hit this man, and I wasn't going fast. I wasn't on my phone. I didn't have any music playing. Like, I had no distractions other than just being sad, depressed, miserable, fighting an addiction, in and out of treatment. Like, my body, the only reason I would take, and it was so crazy. Like, most people spend so much money, like, chasing this euphoria, after if anybody has ever tried anything that alters, their body or whatever, their mind. Like, it's no purpose in taking it if, like, you're just going to feel the same. But it was crazy for me because it's like I wasn't chasing this euphoria. Like I told you in the beginning, I just wanted to die. And I did it because it made me sleepy. And I wasn't that experimental person that I wasn't going to go out and I'm not trying to shun anybody with an addiction. But I just wasn't going to be the one to just go say, okay, well, I'm just going to smoke some crack today because I'm miserable. That wasn't me. I was scared of that. So the drug that I trusted, which was the drug that came from the doctor, which is still poison. That's a whole nother topic. But that was, the more trustworthy medicine for me. And, this particular morning, I wasn't even, I wasn't taking my drug of choice was pain pills. Lortabs or either like hydrocodone, Percocet, like that. Thank God I never got into the needle pushing, the sniffing, or anything like that. It could have been worse, but I just used to take them like you took Tylenol. And that's probably one reason why I spent like so much money, because, the more you take, the more you need. And it went from making me sleepy to giving me energy. So, there's just a whole lot of stuff going on. And the day that I had this accident, I had gotten, like, I'm not going to say involved because it wasn't like a romantic type thing, just because of the heart that I have, a classmate, nobody I was close to, nobody that I could call on, nobody that I was attracted to. I just felt like bad and sorry for him and his story. And now that I look back, like, how could you feel bad for somebody when you were doing just as worse? So I was trying to help him, but I was frustrated. So while the accident happened, as far as like, normally you're going too fast or whatever, none of that was going on. The speed I was going, like, you would just have to know. It was nobody but God. Like, if you had asked me years ago, one of the things that I've always been afraid of, after like going to school and learning about the police and jail, even when I get mad or want to do something, I would think about like, I can't do it. That's going to mess my record up. I'm going to jail. I can't go to jail. I'm not going to survive. And that that is what kept me from, acting out a lot of times. But when I had this accident, here it was, I hit this man and I killed him. And the way that it happened, I don't know, it was like an out of body experience because I hit him. I do remember the sun being in my eyes. I remember that. And I remember having a lot on my mind because here I was like, getting myself and my thoughts together to tell this person, I'm not going to even label them as a friend, like, you have to leave my house. Like, whatever you need to do, if you need food, I got you. If you need to wash your clothes, which you ain't have that many, but I got you. Whatever it takes to get you out of my space, I will do it today. This is all that was on my mind. So when I went, and then I got even madder, and I'm just being honest, like, because it was like he was leeching off of me because I went to bed and I had cigarettes. And then when I woke up, like, you smoked all my cigarettes. So then I was on another level of living. And I'm like, oh, you really got to go now. So when I left my house, that was my conversation with him. And this was 7 o'clock in the morning. I was not taking pills. I had just came out of treatment, actually. And the only thing that I was taking was, I don't know, it was some type of nerve medicine, but it didn't make you high or give you euphoria or anything. Just kind of calmed the nerve. And
I have a question.
Okay.
When you say treatment, did you attend rehab?
Yeah. I never in this, I went to detox because I was also dealing with like a lot of shame because that's kind of sort of what kept me from going. Shame, and I mean, I had a maybe one or two people, like my dad. I can call my dad and I can tell my dad anything. Like, there's nothing. We talk like we're brothers and sisters. That was the first person that I called and let know, like, something going on with my body. When I don't take this medicine, this is how I feel. So I knew I didn't have to be ashamed, like, with the most important person. But my son's father, like I said, we were together for 26 years, and it was a lot of shame. I knew that he wasn't going to understand, and, I was just really, really trying to hide it for as long as I could. So when it kind of, like, came out, and, if you're with somebody that long, you just know, and I knew that he loved me, but I also know that this town, he's from this town, I'm not from this town. And just being around small-minded people, a lot of people also formulated opinions about me because as nice as I am, I mean, I can also be a firecracker too. So, you got these people, everybody's saying something, and then, he's feeling shame because I'm attached to him. So I went to detox because I knew, like, with pain pills, it's a lot of mental, but the hardest part is the physical withdrawals. Like, they will make you feel, I mean, you're probably not going to die, but you will feel like death. So that's where I started it because, and then after I would leave, I would go to a 5 or 6 day detox. And after that, I went to intense outpatient. I would go 3 times. After the accident, I stayed in jail for 3 months, and that's not typical. But like I said, everything that happened to me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I just feel like, and I know that it is just a part of this journey, this divine journey that God has me on, and he's holding my hand through because I lost my bond. Like, it's fast. Now, we got a jail with 4 cells in it. That's how big our town is. Like, it's only 4 beds for girls. And when I went there, it was 2 other girls in there. I knew one and one I didn't know. I had to stay there for 3 months because they gave me a bond when I went in. they gave me I think a $40,000 bond. So of course, my people, they got on it. Like they getting their money together and everything. Okay, well, fast as they gave me a bond, they snatched it back. So, then I got my people, telling me from jail, like, Keisha, what are you saying in there? They done took your bond back. And I'm like, what you mean they took my bond back? And I'm like, but why? So then I found out, I didn't find out right then, and this was during the time where, all of this just happened. When it happened, like the whole town I was basically in the middle of the road, at the scene of an accident, and the whole town was standing there. And I mean, you could just about imagine whether they were laughing. I was being shunned, and it was like, they nailed me to the cross, basically. But my bond was snatched simply because one of the girls that I was locked up with, she had a pill addiction, but she would always end up in jail because she didn't pay her child support. So because it was only one other girl that I found out later that she lied, and I seen the statement and all, she told a lie that I told her that if they let me out of jail, I was going to take my son and go back to Detroit and nobody would ever see him again. And the officer that wrote the statement, like this was her last day at work. Everybody in the jail knew me and they were good with me except for this one officer. She didn't really know me. And that's why I say, like, I just feel like this is exactly what God needed to happen, because normally, people always look at me and they be like, well, Keisha, how did that happen for you? And I just be like, well, God favors me. You know that, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But he has something for you to do and you have to do it. Like, I got out. They took my bond for 3 months. For 3 months I had to stay in jail. And my son's father and my dad and, everybody in my very small support system made sure that I had, my necessities and, whatever I needed. And they were on the outside, trying to get the best lawyers that money could buy or whatever. And I stayed out for 2 years. I stayed out. It's like they were never calling my docket number for court. After I got out, my lawyer just advised me. He's like, listen, keep your nose clean. You need to go to work. You need to just not get into no trouble. And, and that's what I did. And I was just determined. So I got out, my record messed up. I got a pending felony right now. So, they can see that it's pending. So that's just about as bad as having, because ain't nobody going to tell me different, especially after I've gone through this good old system of ours. It's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until they prove your innocence. And I don't care what nobody say. So that's what I went through. And I drove an hour and a half one way every day for 6 days a week just to go make $13 an hour. I was so tired, but I was just like, whatever it takes to not get hooked on pills or to stay off pills, and to just try to show these people that, yes, I did hit somebody. It was indeed an accident. That's not what I meant to do. And I definitely feel bad about it. But in that process also, I was blessed to have the same man who I accidentally killed. See, this man has a very, very big family. Out of the entire family, it was only one person that was against me, and that was his brother, who never
have created an image of Africa that's negative and hateful, and it has been hateful to us. We haven't wanted to identify with it. But now that Africa is getting independent and in a position to create its own image, and it's a positive image, those of us in the West look at the African image and see how positive it is. We begin to identify with it. We become proud of Africa, and we become proud of our African blood, our African heritage.
Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day.
My support system mad at me for that. They were. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear you.
Hold on. Are you on commercial, Bless?
Nah, you just went quiet for a minute. You just went quiet for a minute.
You said what?
No, I just said you just went quiet for a minute, so I just came to find out what was going on.
Oh, you had went out. You had went out, and then I had brought you back in.
Oh, okay. All right. Carry on then.
Gotcha. Just a recap because we almost at the hour mark. We are on Bless Radio on Unified Platform. Coming from all the way from United States, your host, SHARENIKA JASMNIE, co-host, Jasmine Williams. Call in with your questions, statements, or encouragement at 079-444-31366. Radio station based out of London, UK. On Bless Radio on Unified Platform. Also, if you missed the beginning of this show, this segment, which it was a powerful segment, you can look at the recap also on blessradio1.com. Our special guest that we have today, that literally with a powerful testimony that I never heard of before, Miss Keisha. She's basically telling us about how sometimes in life you can go through stuff that can be a blessing to you, and it can also be a curse to you. And she just sharing her story about basically how what she went through with her career change, and how everybody looked at her one way, and then literally, but God showed up and showed out in her life, and it ended up being a blessing to her in the end. But an outsider looking in, it can look like that anybody else, it would have, if that would have happened to anybody else, they probably wouldn't have made it out. They probably would have killed themselves. They probably would have did something. Probably would have went into, ain't no telling. Probably would have still been in a home or in some type of system. They probably wouldn't have been able to get through that. But she's basically telling her story, what she went through, and you left off at you could start where you had left off at.
I think I was talking about like when I went to prison. You know, I my faith, it just, you know, and when I say that, I'm not that person. No, I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't always pray when I should. I don't always do what I should. I mean, I know just about what the right thing to do, but no, I'm not going to sit here and just be like, oh, you know, I came out of prison, or I went to prison and I walked this fine, perfect line. I did not do that. But the excuse me, the biggest thing for me was my addiction, and God knows that, I know that, and everybody else that knows me knows that, because, you know, that was just like hard for them, because they're looking at this person like, and you know, when you are when you too much of anything is not good for you. So you got this person that is, and and now, like, even in my transparency and accepting what I've done and how it happened, because this is just me. If I know that I did something wrong and I did not intend to do it, that was not my intent, I would never in my life try to do that to you, then you're only going to make me feel so bad. So, once I apologize to you and I know that that apology was from my heart, I'm just not going to let you drag me forever.
Right.
So that was hard for the people, and during this time that I was on pills, like I couldn't even see, like I've been always been heavy all my life, like thick, hips, tail, and all of that. Um, and even though I started, my weight loss started with the gallbladder surgery, because that's the type of surgery that I had prior to my mama dying. That started me to losing weight, and then the grief from my mama, that kind of maintained it. But it was like the pills that just had me looking so ugly, and just I couldn't see it. Like that's the saddest part for me. Like days when I was just walking around, these pills that I was in, when I looked in the mirror, or I felt just so okay, that I just could not see this ugly, just physically ugly person. That's like the saddest part for me. When I came out of prison, I knew whatever it took for me not to go back there, that's what, I was going to do. And that part about, I know everybody got like different ways that they were brought up. But, in the Black household and in my grandmama's household, it's like, yeah, you can play with God all you want to, but when he get ready to sit you down, he going to sit you down. And
Right.
that is so true, because, God, I feel like God allowed, like they say, what the Bible talks about Job, and God allowed the devil, just his soul, like that was, you just do whatever you want to do to him. I'm giving you that, but do not touch his soul. And God will allow you to go through something, like that's part of your punishment. Like just like your parents, your parents let you run around and do whatever you want to do. You're like, okay, do you really love your child if you're doing that? But God chastens the ones he loves. And he put me in a position to where it's like I told you I had the money. I had, the car that I wanted. I had the shelter. I had clothes. I had whatever I wanted. But I didn't have what I needed. And, God's like, okay, so you think this is it, and you think that this person is all of that. And I just feel like, he had to strip me down and put me like at the bottom of the valley, and just, okay, so now that you're here, let me show you that I am the only person and the only entity that is going to give you peace, even in the midst of the storm. Because when I was in prison, it sounds crazy, but that was, when I say peace, peace, and I'm talking about peace like worrying about your phone bill or worrying about what your car. I'm talking about peace, like peace. Right. It's hard to explain because it don't make sense to a lot of people. But when God wants your attention, he's going to get it.
That is so true. And I say that a powerful testimony. Oh, I'm sorry, you said something, Jasmine.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I see a lot of God's purpose just in how you perceive everything that happened now, all the way up from the loss of your mom. And I do believe she's been with you through a lot of this, because you constantly trying to overcome your addiction and fight depression. Even through wanting to die, you still was fighting. And it's just, now your perspective on the stuff that you went through, and knowing that it was meant for the best, for the better, that's nothing but God.
Can I tell you?
Down your life.
Can I tell y'all something? like, what was your name, sweetheart? Okay, Jazz. Oh, something, and you really have to be reminded. And I'm gonna say this because I know y'all have heard me speak of my son's father, and when I say like I hard down, love this man, and like I said, we're both the same age. We're both 39, and he has been there for me, but he has caused a lot of pain also. So now, that I'm here, he calls it tough love, but I go through so much with him because we're from like two different walks of life. And I just told him the other day, because it's no shame in it, whatever his purpose is behind it, I feel how I feel. However, whatever his purpose behind it is, like we always go through this. He says to me, well, Keisha, you've been trying to get it together for so long. And, sometimes I feel like the stuff he says is kind of cold-hearted, but then at the end of the day, it's like I never wanted to separate from him. Never. I mean, this was like my security blanket. Even, in the midst of whatever, the cheating, whatever, and I mean, I'm not placing myself above him because, I've cheated also, but, women are kind of sort of like, okay, we both did it, so now are we going to move on? I forgive you. All you just got to do is stop doing what you're doing, So we know it never happens like that. But Jasmine, you said you like about how I've been fighting for so long, and I have, and I'm not going to give up because I just told and I know it's just God. It's just God, and especially during this time because here I am at another, at the crossroad again where my money ain't right, my car towed up, and this man who's always been in my corner, he still helps me, but it's like he says he wants me to be stronger and better, but I don't feel like that all the time. I just feel like I told him when the dust settles, I'll still be one of the last ones standing because I'm built like that, and I know that I'm built like that, and I know it don't matter what. I mean, I might feel like death itself, but I know God gonna bring me through. He gonna send somebody. He gonna give me a word. He gonna do something, and that's like really why I'm on here today, because I don't like talking to people like on a platform. I don't even feel like I have it together like that. The end part, no, I don't have it together. But going through the storm is just been really God. And now that I've had to detach from this security blanket, I just know he's always here.
That is so powerful. Question. Do you still feel shame in what you went through? Like, do you ever still feel shame, like talking about the addiction, or are you able to freely talk about it to anyone?
Honey, no, I don't feel any shame because, and I mean, Sharenika, like as you're getting to know me more, I mean, I think you can kind of see like the humble side and the fire side of me. And, now I feel as though because I am not, in active addiction, I'm very much aware of what's going on around me. And, like I said, I'm brutally honest. And when I'm brutally honest, I stood and I looked at the man in the mirror first. I was honest with that person first. So I checked her first, which is why No, I'm not going to. You're not going to shame me. You're not going to belittle me. You're not going to place yourself above me. You're not going to shade me. You're not going to make me feel bad. If you feel like that's how you're going to come at me, you're probably going to leave embarrassed, because if that's how you're going to come at me, then you need to be walking through like Jesus. No, ma'am, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all, because that's where I was. I was ashamed when, it would probably make me ashamed if I was trying to play the game like I was before with God. Don't never let me get far with that. Never. Like if I was, on here talking and then like, trying to go pop a pill for some energy or some stuff like that, then yeah, I probably would be ashamed. But no, I'm not, because I'm not there anymore. And when I tell my son's father there or anybody else who tried to shade me, no, boo. I'm not ashamed.
I salute you for that, because many people out there that are listening right now are afraid to tell their story, or some might still be ashamed of what they went through, ashamed to say, okay, I did that. So some people are still trapped in bondage from what I did in the past. Shame really can hold you back. People don't understand how much shame can hold back, because your story is what's gonna make you money. Your story is your destiny. Your story is your purpose.
But you know what? And what the very ones that still, even now, even after they know the way that I did, they will call me because they are now hooked on pills. But that's how tables is turned. I wouldn't done somebody else, or to laugh at their pain, or to even, be like, oh, it might be like that. But you sitting here shamed, and you're calling me, asking me, do I dance or whatever, just because we live in this small town, and, some people, of course, because I'm still small, and, I haven't gained to identify me pills. That don't bother me at all. Not one bit, because I know that I'm not there. I'm not gonna walk around. I'm here to, and I know, like I said, God definitely has a purpose over my life. I know nobody but God Himself, somebody from to tell me that He does not have His hands on me, because it's just so much that I done went through. I'm talking about car accidents. I could have been dead. I'm talking about one incident I could remember so vividly. I could have killed me and my son when I wasn't even trying to get high or anything. My son's father had a child on me, like while we were in a relationship. The only thing that I knew or could do, because again, people drugged me so bad and talked about me, pointed their fingers, laughed at me, even my family. Why you got his son? Because he had this child with somebody before we even had a son together. And I call him my son. He is my son. Messiah is a year older than my son, and I wouldn't trade anything for him. But I can remember when, this was the beginning of everything, and Messiah had a birthday party, and of course, that was my only stipulation with my son's father after I forgave him. Okay, I forgive you, but the deal breaker is, I don't know what, the conversation you need to have. And I had a conversation with his mama, but I will have a relationship with this child, and that's just period. And I do. And I wouldn't change it for anything. There has been no drama. There has been no fighting. There has been none of that. You know, my hurt didn't have anything to do with her. You know, I mean, I was that woman at one point in time, and this is why I don't mess with nobody's man.
Right. That is powerful. Have you ever thought about? Well, we got one statement came in and said they agree with you. Never look down on someone else. You never know what God would do to you. So they basically agreed. And this been amazing testimony, a powerful story. So I got a question. Have you ever thought about? Because I know you said you got a passion for foster kids. You ever thought about going to like group homes to speak, or speaking to foster kids, or speaking at a shelter?
Well, the group home I have, and I have a counselor and a therapist that I talk to and stuff, and I actually talked to her about that. You know, like I said, I've been, you know, kind of sort of going through a lot myself without having stable employment. So I kind of had to make sure, you know, my mind and my resources were intact before I kind of put myself out there like that. However, I did talk to my therapist and my counselor, and I let her know that, you know, that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted her to kind of help me get, you know, linked up with the right people. And then we had this COVID thing that started. So, but yes, I absolutely have. And I've always wanted to work with DJJ. And before it's all said and done, but it's probably, that's what he want me to do. He's going to help me get that platform.
That is amazing. And just to recap our listeners, today we're on Bless Radio on Unified Platform, coming all the way from the United States. And you can catch the replay if you missed the beginning of the show. You can catch the replay on Bless Radio, the number1.com. Call in with your questions, call in with your statements, whatever it is. Call in at 079-444-31366. Radio show based out of London, UK, but we're coming all the way from the United States. We have our special guest today is Miss Keisha. She have went through so much, and it's an honor to even be able to have this conversation with her, to even just hear her story about how she overcame her addictions, how she overcame being in a car accident, and someone died in a car accident, and she had to do time in prison. Like, just so much she have went through, and she's still standing to just be here to tell her story is a blessing itself. Because I myself, I don't even know how I would have even came out of that. Like, seriously, I don't even know how to just see that she still just to see that she still have it together. Like, just to be able to, like Jasmine said, to still be fighting, still be living, and overall, most importantly, not being ashamed. You walking in your truth. Because you really, half of the fight is already over.
Absolutely.
Just by even walking in your truth. Anytime you walk in your truth, that's the hardest battle by itself. So you don't it took me years. It took me, I think, about 10 years. but with me, what helped,
I'm still working.
For the listeners, what helped me walk in my truth, I kept telling my story over and over, no matter how bad it sounds, no matter how people judge me, they looked at me nasty, like, ew, you did that? Like, ew. And I felt the judgment.
For the people that's going through the same thing, though, like, but people will shun you because they don't even know how to feel or where to start. But they hard down going through the same thing you going through. But then I guess you want to talk about me to make yourself feel better sometimes.
Exactly. That's what a lot.
I know what I said, and I know that about people, you know, and people always ask me, like, I'm kind of goofy, and I tell them all the time, like, I gotta laugh to keep from crying, and if that's what I gotta do, then that's what I gotta do. We gonna laugh today, okay? That's what we're gonna do.
Right.
We ain't crying, okay? We're not doing no crying. I'm tired of crying.
Exactly. It's sad, but yeah, it's a lot of people that really, like you said, they mad because they're not telling their truth. They're mad because how did you get the brave enough to even share that? And they're going through the same thing, but looking at you like you nasty.
But I know that I appreciate the truth more than anything, and I always use cheating because that's love. That's hard to love somebody that got so many flaws, or to love somebody that has just done you so bad, or when you love somebody and you love them and you think they love you, you kind of put them above what others would do to you. And then when they do something like the others, you're like, okay, I thought you loved me. Like, how did you do that? So I just feel like I appreciate the truth more than anything. Like, do not play games with me. Don't give me false hope. If I gotta cry, just let me just cry right now and pray about it and just get on through. Like, don't drag me through this lie. Just go ahead and tell me now, okay? Because at some point I'm gonna cry. Just let me cry right now, okay? Thank you.
That is so true, and that's a debate that a lot of people debate about. Some women rather not know.
I don't know. I want to know. I want to know it all. Let me know what we playing, so I can, no. I need to know.
Right. It got some women to get mad if somebody come back and tell them something about their man. They will get mad at you, and then they got some women that wants to know. Like me, I think I do. I think I go to the extreme. I try to find. I could be a lawyer, a FBI, some everything. I go to the extreme and try to look for something, because my trust issues is kind of like all over the place. So it's like I'm looking for the worst.
And that's true. But me, I expect it, but I don't look for it. But energy don't lie. And you can't keep, for somebody that done been through a lot and done kind of went through all walks of life, it's hard. And if I've been around you for it's hard for you to lie to me. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But when it's off, I already know something is going on. And that's one of the reasons my son's father and I, we just, in this moment, maybe some other things have to happen, I don't know. But in this moment, I just be dead on it because of the energy and because of where I am, and because I ask God to strengthen my spirit of discernment, and because I ask him, like, listen, God, I can see, but if it ain't right, I need you to stir up some kind of emotion that it's letting me know it's not right. And he never lets me down. And everybody can't handle that. And I'm okay with being here by myself, knowing that I have a peace of mind because I already know what's going on this side of the fence. But I'm okay with that because I already knew what was going on. So now, I just really feel like, God has humbled my spirit and, calmed my, anxiety. Because, it's just more stuff I really need to do for myself, because it doesn't matter. This is me. Whether I'm up or down or in between, just my heart, the way I love, the way I care. Right. I'm just a dope person for that and that alone. And the rest is just a bonus. I just done went through all this stuff so I can help you, boo.
Have you been in any support groups?
No, I haven't.
You're not currently in active addiction, but in active addiction, but you're still a recovering addict. I think your testimony would help in some support groups a lot. they don't just have AA, they have like NA, and people that come from being addicted to opiates, and they're still actively in it. There, some of our listeners right now are still in active addiction. What would you tell them um to maybe help them to what advice would you give them as far as trying to come out of that addiction and trying to hold on to something that means more?
When you say hold on to something that means more, what you mean?
Okay, so like everybody has something that they like that keeps you from giving up, because you were on the verge of giving up a lot of times, but you kept fighting. And so how did you find that thing that allowed you to keep fighting? And how did you because some people they use addiction to cope, and some people end up in addiction from being depressed, or from trying to just numb that feeling of everything that they're going through. And so, like, what hope can you possibly give somebody that doesn't see the light that you see? Like, share your perspective before you got where you are now, to like, how can I say it? I'm trying to see how can you like talk to our listeners that are maybe in active addiction, that are like where they are now.
Okay.
Or how did you find strength? How did like a question came? How did you find the inner strength?
Okay. So, let's see. I would say the first thing about addiction is you just really got to be tired. Like, your mama can't want it for you, your children can't want it for you, your pastor can't want it for you. Nobody can want it for you but you. That's the only way you're even going to begin to like try or be sincere or genuine in trying to get off of whatever substance you on. If there's anybody listening that is spending all their money to keep their man, their children, or anybody, or out of addiction, stop. Save your money for when they feel like they're ready. Take them on a vacation, buy them some new clothes. Don't waste your money, because it's not going to work if that's not what they want for themselves. Now, I don't have that answer as far as like, what would make somebody else just be tired. But me, it was, what did it for me was the fact that I'm typically an upbeat, happy person. I'm not materialistic. I just like to be comfortable, at peace, and happy, if I can. Every day ain't gonna be like Christmas. If I can't be happy every day, just let me be at peace. Don't get on my nerves, okay? Don't get on my nerves. If I gotta be broke, like, just let me sit here and just try to figure it out or pray or whatever. But my thing was the getting up every day or feeling like I needed this substance before I even got my day started. It was just too time consuming. It was like, it was awful. I mean, it was awful. Like, today, it's 6:23 p.m. right now in America. If it was a day like today, I'm at home. I've been sick with the flu, so my son is not here. But if I was at home by myself, like if I didn't have any money, and right now I don't have money, but that's probably like one of the worst things that I would do to my loved one. I would make up some kind of lie to get some money. And sad but true, the person that I lied to the most was my dad and my son's father. Now, my dad, my dad is not stupid. He was in addiction also. So he would give me the money. He was my enabler, but then he was my support system too. And I don't think he enabled me because that's what he wanted to do. I think he just enabled me because he just loves me, and he just has his weakness because he has mostly girls. But what did it for me was the fact that right now, if I had just taken like my last lower tab, I would have to put so much energy and time and effort into making sure. Now right now I'm working third shift 12 hours, but I would have to start now to make sure that I would have at least some kind of, pill to go to work and pull these 12 hours tomorrow. Then when I get to work, I got to work like a dog when I get there. And by the time, or depending on how hard they got me working, I might need one in the middle of my shift or, the next day. Like, sometimes you would be so sick that you just could not move. And that's not life. And that's not how I wanted my life to be. And it wasn't going to be how it was going to be. So just the fact that, like, other people, even though, like I said, I speak about, money right now because my phone is cut off, but my Wi-Fi. So I'm blessed. I'm happy. I'm okay. My car transmission slipping right now, but I get paid this week, and my son's father, like I said, he still helps me. So he's going to help me, get this rental car before I go to work tomorrow. So that is a whole different type of stress that I would rather have any day of the week rather than over here on the left side trying to figure out how am I just going to cope the next day, like get out of bed without being sick. So if I can get up and, thank God for waking me up, then I know me and him, we got the rest. Like, I might not feel good because I ain't, okay, West Carolina or Straight Talk, y'all can get y'all money Thursday. But for today, I got a peace of mind. I'm not sick. My child is okay. I'm good. And then, I see a lot of people, which I knew that I was blessed because the people that, people are really, really spiteful and evil. And you wouldn't believe, you wouldn't believe like some of the ways that people come at, me to attack me. And I feel like, people dislike me for all the wrong reasons. However, that's for you to figure out, not me. I'm not going to cause you harm, and I'm not going to do anything to you, but I'm not going to run you down either, especially if you're not for me. But, it's just a different struggle. Like, that, I don't want that. I don't want that for my enemy. And I just don't understand what would make somebody want to, do that for forever. And then I wasn't even going to play with my son. I was blessed that my son was never, coming from Child Protective Services. I had so many people that wanted or even said that they were going to. And I feel like my son's father, he's much too good of a person to let that happen. But even when he was so mad at me because he didn't understand what I was going through, he never played me dirty. He never took my child from me. He never thought about it. When I went to prison, him and his mom, they kept my son. When I came home, he brought my son to see me while I was in prison. When I came home, I never skipped a beat. And that right there, that was a blessing enough. And I just wasn't going to even play with God like that. Like, okay, you didn't lose your child, and I know I could have, but I wasn't going to play with that.
That is a blessing. I know you spoke about other people, and sometimes people don't like you and you don't understand. Sometimes people can see you further than what we see ourselves, and so that'll make them envious us because they're like, well, how Keisha get to be blessed, or how Keisha, she did this or she did that, because some people like to hold the past over our heads.
Oh yeah, and it's a lot of people that feel like I should still be in prison. There are a lot of people who feel like I didn't get enough time. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I don't know. I think a lot of times I'm misunderstood. And, but like I said, I know my heart and I know how I feel about people. And I know, if I could, what I would do to help people, even the people that don't necessarily like me. And I think that's such, I don't know, it's such an ugly trait to have, to just be evil and nasty to people. And I just don't see, it's so ugly. Like at this point, I've kind of figured it out that when I absolutely know, even if you don't understand what I've done to myself or to somebody else, my issue and why you don't like me has nothing to do with one or the other. So in this moment, I realize, and I've gone through enough to know that people go through a lot that they don't want other people to know about, and that's just something on the inside of you, honey.
Gotcha.
That they get over it.
Right. And something I want to you said something that stuck out to me, that I kind of wanted to correct, because our words have power. Even though I know you were speaking the truth, and you said that right now, like, even, but you still trust God, like you don't have any, your phone is cut off, but you got a Wi-Fi, so you thank God for that. And so that's itself, God is gonna bless you because you thanking God for the little. The other thing, even though you might not have money right now, and you're telling the truth, that and you telling the truth because that's a truthful situation, but sometimes we can't look at the situation, so sometimes we have to speak the opposite of what we're going through. So yeah, I might not have nothing in my bank account, but I'm not gonna speak that I got a lot of money. So I want you to speak and say, oh, I got plenty of money. And also, but not only just speak you have plenty of money, but also speak favor on car lots, speak favor with car payments, car dealerships, and because our words have power.
That is so true. You are so right. And I will be mindful of that. Because
So
that is the truth.
So that goes for even, but that's understandable because you just being. I know you had just an honest moment. You just being honest, but I was just saying for you and for anybody that's listening, because even though I understand you saying that, but after the fact, even like you get off the call, and even if you like have your moment of your prayer time or regular just talking to God, just like he your homeboy, because I talk to him like he my homeboy. A lot of people don't agree with that. We be having debates about that, but anyway, but that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, but you can like say little smaller stuff like talking to yourself and declaration that you're saying out loud, like I'm wealthy, I'm a money magnet. Money always find me. And so things like that. You let me see any other questions came in.
No, but I was gonna comment on because I too am a recovering addict, but I was addicted to marijuana, and I guess it's partially a blessing, the perspective you get about money and the things that you have after you come out of something like that, because at one point in your life that's all you cared about. That's all you cared about. Is all from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. And then once you eliminate that factor out of your life, you start to think about, okay, well, now I could prioritize the things that are actually important, but I also don't have the stress or the weight that the rest of the world has about other things that aren't as important, because I've gone so long with only focusing on this one thing.
Absolutely.
And so once you let go of that, you're able to go through some real stuff and not have it weigh you down so heavily. You're able to look at it like, I may not have this, I may not have that, but I'm okay.
Right.
And I think that is because I trust me, addiction, I'm not trying to bring light to it because it's a terrible thing, but that is one of the things that I've noticed from not being addicted to marijuana, because I so much money went to it, And I was just like,
It's crazy because people, people that smoke marijuana every day, all day, like, and I'm just being honest, like, I was never, I just can't smoke in the daytime. Like, it throw me off. It slowed me down, make me feel like I'm mentally retarded or something. So that was like, one of my methods for helping me sleep. But it's funny when you say that because people don't feel like marijuana they don't look at it like something you can be addicted to. They look at it like,
because they're not being realistic. They're not
right.
being realistic
Anytime
about
you're dependent on something, like a few of my homeboys. I mean, Shay knows a few of them. Like, you can't
realize it until you try to take it away. Then they like,
oh boy, when they get up in the morning and they looking stupid because they ain't got no marijuana to roll, but you don't feel like you're addicted.
Right.
Or you're talking about somebody that's going to look for a pill. Only difference is we looking for different stuff, but people try to separate it like one is better than the other or one is not worse. No, we on the same mission. You trying to get your drug, I'm trying to get my drug so we can meet in the middle and be happy and go on about our day. But people don't look at it like that.
Yeah, there's some people they ain't addicted, but you spend your last $5, $10 on the blunt.
So what is that? Because you just felt like you had to have it, right?
Right. Over your needs. Because I know some people that, okay,
have no food. After they smoke it, they going to be hungry and then can't eat. I ain't lying. Y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, preach.
So good. I said I'm the type of person. I had plenty of chances to like try it. I said I'm the type of person I done got addicted to it, so I'm not finna play with it or even try it out. Cause I don't see homegirls. They'll spend their last money on weed when they child needed Pampers, and they'll buy the weed over the Pampers, and then find somebody else to get the Pampers. Like I don't want to cause I'm the type of person I would like I would have been addicted to.
Shoot, smoking weed showed me I knew how to hustle, baby, because I ain't had no money. I found some kind of way to get some money, baby. Some kind of way.
Because so many people, and it's like so many people are going through, and it's like we stand next to them, we work beside them. I mean, from the doctors to the lawyers to the judges, but in this world we live in, everybody want to keep it hid, and I know you doing it, but you don't need to know I'm doing it because I need to remain like I'm better than you, and I mean, I don't know, but until you just be real with yourself, you're always going to be stuck in the same hole.
That is so true.
Forever. And I mean, being real and going through that healing process is not easy. Healing is hell, if you ask me. But it's necessary. It's ugly, but it yields beautiful results. And then I have to tell the people that are closest to me, it ain't nothing that happened overnight. It's not going to happen in months or I don't know if it takes, how many years it takes. I don't know where it says, where the manual that says it's going to take you 4 years to overcome this, and I had to remind my son's father because he's a respiratory therapist and he's into, mind over matter and just being so strong. And I said, I hope and I pray that, you never have to go through some of the stuff that I've, had to just overcome because, and then to listen to what people will tell you why they felt like you had to go through it. Like, just ludicrous. But when you have to go through that and you got everybody judging you, laughing at you, it takes a lot of strength And that was the only way that I was going to make it. Was like, it wasn't no other way around it. Like, okay, I'm about to hold my head up, and if you want it down, then you're going to have to come and put it down. And the chances are slim to none you're not going to do that. So that's where I'm at. You're not going to make me feel like I'm below you. I'm not.
That's powerful. And that's
nobody wants to go through that healing process. I can tell you that now. That I think that hinders a lot of people, because when you go through that process, you got to go talk to people, you got to apologize, you got to tell people you was wrong, even when they still wrong, and you're not focusing on them. You're focusing on you. You're doing this for you. It ain't gonna make sense. It don't feel good. You'll be talking to people that tell you that they want the truth, and the truth is gonna make it better. But then when you tell them the truth, they're looking at you sideways, and now they mad as hell. Excuse my language. But you just told me you wanted the truth. You told me this was gonna make it better. So now I feel like I set myself up for the okie doke, right? So now you mad at it. That's a whole nother ball game. But guess what? That's something you have to go through. Like, that's the real part of it. And you're going to go through some more hurt. But guess what? At the end, it's going to be beautiful. And towards the end, it's going to, get brighter. And another thing that keeps me from feeling so bad is because the people, my spiritual partners and my spiritual mothers, they always remind me, like, the devil ain't gonna keep coming at you like that if God ain't got his hands on you. So I just feel like, I feel like somebody that you can just go beat up. You don't have to just put a lot of energy into that. I can just come beat you up, but when I really am having a time with tackling you, I really got to come at you hard. So I don't always look at it as a, bad thing.
That is awesome, and that was so powerful what you said. And my thing is, what's wrong with our community, our race? We need to normalize therapy and counseling. People
Absolutely. Health, period.
You crazy, you this for going to counseling, oh, you a psycho for going to counseling, or you this and that. Counseling and therapy was the best thing I ever done in my whole entire life. When I say the best decision I ever made, the best decision I ever made. That's why I encourage people to get mentors, life coach, some type of counseling or therapy, because I'm telling you, we got to get out of that mindset thinking, oh, I'm ashamed, I don't want to seem like I need therapy, or I don't want to seem like I need counseling. That's the problem. We making it seem like it's a problem.
All need help at some point or another.
And even the person that do the counseling need a counselor. Even the life coach need a life coach. So like people think I have it all together. Shoot, even I still have to have a mentor and a life coach or whatever that pours back into me. Because if we pour out, then we're gonna be pouring from an empty cup, and we're gonna be drained. So even right. But yeah, we need to normalize that. But I'm telling you, your story is so powerful. Now I know you said in the beginning, you said you did this, you did that. You had a passion for foster kids. You always like helping. In the beginning of the segment, you were speaking on that. You said you still did everything and bust your behind, even while being an addict. My question is, the people that was around you before it came out, did they know, or it was like they didn't know anything about it?
Oh no, you know how it is. People can look at you and tell something is off. And my coworker, she knew. I mean, I don't think everybody knew exactly what was going on. And the small town people talk, but then the other part of that, like I said, because I was so good at my job, and even now, after the accident, the town that I worked in, like with the kids and the foster kids and stuff, that's a town right over. Everybody that I helped and that was on my caseload, those are people that I'm still friends with. Those are people that still go to bat for me. Like they still call me Miss Keisha, or they still tell me they love me. When I came home from prison, they let me know, or during that time, I read so many comments that people left on my page. I knew which ones were like really genuine, but those same people that I help are people that I'm still good with today. Like those are some of the people that did not shun me, because like they really knew my heart, because when you got to go into somebody's household and help them, you got to get in their business. So I was in their business, and they knew what type of person I was. And I think they just appreciated me, because I never got in their business to the point to try to embarrass them, but just try to help them. Like, I think they realized I was just there to help, and I'm just a good person going through a bad time.
Got you. Outside of, I know you said you have spoken at a shelter. Is there anything else that you're doing regarding?
No, I didn't speak at no shelter. I said
Not group home. You said group home.
No, I told them I wanted to. I told my counselor I wanted to.
Got you. No, when I had asked you, have you ever thought about it? I thought you had said that you have. So you saying that you would.
I would love to.
Got you. The other question, let's see here. Okay. Got you. Okay, the other question I had was, what I was referring to as for, okay, we already talked about, you said that's something you want to do. Is there anything else that you're looking to do, like writing a book on your story, or doing a podcast, or doing anything? Because your story is too powerful to be sitting on. You need to be doing something behind that.
Wow. To be totally honest with you, yes, I have a lot of thoughts about, what I would like to do. As far as like jumping out there like on my own, I'm not ready for that. And so I would say, I still got some more work within myself and within my circumstance just to get to that point. When not, like just different stuff that, because just being honest, when you go through addiction and stuff like that for so long, you neglect a lot of what's important. So right now I'm catching up. I'm working on affairs that I just kind of left dangling, that I just, if I can't take care of all of it right now, I just need y'all to know I'm aware of it, and we gonna work it out. But I'm definitely open to, traveling, or, like I just did today, coming on to somebody else's platform, sharing, or if people want to reach out to me, I'm definitely open to that.
Got you. Let's see here. If any last minute questions came through. And just a recap in our last 10 minutes. Yeah. We're on Bless Radio on Unified Platform, coming all the way from United States of America. Your host, SHARENIKA Lachey, co-host Jasmine Williams, and we have our special guest on today, Miss Keisha, that has went through a lot, and she is still standing, and I know she encouraged somebody on today. If you missed the whole show, you can catch the replay at www.blessradio1.com. If you have any last minute questions while we wrap it up in these last 10 minutes, call 079-444-31366. No matter if you have questions on how did she, questions on her story, because you might be going through the same thing she went through or something similar. So whatever question you have, even if whatever question you have, and walking in your truth, because we're going to touch back on that as well. Again, about walking in truth, because that right there literally is half of the battle, walking in your truth. And so we're down to the end. We're gonna do last minute encouragement words. So Miss Keisha, do you have any encouraging words to the listeners, to the viewers? That how would you encourage them in their path, in their journey to keep going? Whatever words you have, just give the audience last minute closing encouragement.
Okay, what I would say to that person that feels like there is no hope, prayer. That's definitely something big for me. When you pray, be sincere in your prayer and be truthful. Like, you really just don't have to lie and try to fake it with God, because He already know what's going on. So when you pray, have an honest heart, and when you talk to Him, just know that He is going to help you, but He's not going to do anything until He is ready, or until He feels like you're ready for that. So if you're not going to be sincere, then you're not probably going to be waiting forever, because that's just the kind of God He is. And if those that are going through, if they still have their children, like, I would say, like, look at your children and be the kind of parent to them that you wouldn't have wanted if you didn't have good parents. Don't make them suffer and be another you, because you feel like you need to repeat this cycle of what your parents did to you, or how they did you, or whatever. And just really, try to find you a support system, whether it's somebody that's going through, or a church member or somebody. But I would just say, just don't give up. Like, healing ain't for the weak. So when you're going through it, you gotta know you strong, because it ain't for nobody that's weak. Like, you're going to avoid it. That's how you know you weak. Just be strong, bold, and you just gotta face your demons if you want to get over it.
That was powerful. When you said, when you try to avoid it, that is so powerful and so true, because some people don't like the process. Some people don't like going through nothing. Some people don't like healing, because, like we said, healing don't supposed to feel good.
No, that's when you expose. Everything's exposed on the front line, and you got to take it, and just know that right after that, that's when all of the work begins, and if people will eventually begin to see that you are serious, you're not lying, you ain't trying to fake the funk no more, and they'll, those that care and those that are, are worthy, they will eventually jump on board. But you just got to think about the type of person that you were at one point in time, or how many lies you told, or how many times you got over on it. Understand? No, they're not buying what you're selling right now, because you done got over so many times. So it takes patience.
That's so true. And like I tell people, we can't just thank God for the good, and we can't expect God to do all good if we don't know how to appreciate the bad. We have to learn how to appreciate the bad. We have to learn how to appreciate the no's. We have to learn how to appreciate rejection. If we don't know how to appreciate the bad, how can we truly value the good? So we got to thank God for every bad situation. We got to thank God for our name being slandered. Because if your name being slandered, especially around the whole town, that's an indication that you must finna get raised up in front of the whole town. So we got to look at every negative and look at the positive in the negative, and try to find out, okay, it's a reason behind this. My destiny and my purpose must be huge for me to be going through all of this hell. So we have to. And something else that's to the viewers and listeners, which you stated, Miss Keisha stated something before in her story, what made her and that's a thing, and that's a connection, a similarity I see, because my my transition went quicker when we took ownership. When we stopped running and take ownership and look in the mirror, literally stuff happened because now it's boring. You don't want to be the talk of the town anymore because you took ownership. But if I still be in denial, you're going to still drag it on. But once I take ownership, like, oh, whatever. Now, when I take
me no more.
exactly, it's not fun anymore. And then all of that, it's so boring. Now you feel like I'm telling the story. I'm telling a lie. Now you feel like I really go through that because I took ownership
them of all their power.
Right. So that's powerful. Any other closing remarks, Miss Jasmine? Encouraging words for the listeners.
Y'all basically touched on what I wanted to say. I was just gonna, tell everybody to one of the biggest lessons that I've learned today from listening to Miss Key. Try to keep a positive perspective no matter what you go through. I know we all go through things, but there's somebody out there that has it worse, and if you can't keep a positive perspective, then you won't be able to come out on top. You won't be able to really appreciate the going through after you've overcome so much. Try to look at stuff, with the mindset that, it was meant to be, and that it was in some way was, a lesson was taught, or you were purposed for that to happen, and to just stay strong and be positive.
Wow, that was good. And let's see.
Thank
here.
y'all for having me.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You made this time go by, and when I tell you, stay encouraged. You're on the right path, and I salute you, and I am proud of you. Nobody told you they're proud of you. I'm proud of you because I don't know how I would have been able to survive that.
Thank you so much.
So, in closing, we like to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for just being open and open with every single thing. And so, for all the listeners, if you missed the beginning of the show, you can catch the replay on Bless Radio #1.com. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for even just for the ones that got. I hope someone got encouraged. I'm sure someone got encouraged. Even myself, this have blessed me. And so I thank you again, and stay tuned for next Tuesday's show. This is the end of the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it has been hateful to us. We haven't wanted to identify with it. But now that Africa is getting independent and in a position to create its own image, and it's a positive image, those of us in the West look at the African image and see how positive it is. We begin to identify with it. We become proud of Africa, and we become proud of our African blood, our African heritage.
Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day.
Give us the teaching of Marcus Garvey, Keisha Letman, glory of kings. Give I and I Selassie and keep the guy with the blue eyes for yourself. Cause people without a vision perish like suicide. You tell me it's not about color, still you refuse to take the picture off the wall. Oh, yeah. All you do is trick the brothers, keep them confused. They don't know who to call on in this ironical war. And you tell me of a paradise in the sky, but that's a lie. And you tell me I was born in sin and shaped in iniquity when love created I. Look how many prophets tried to open our eyes. You can't fool me. No, no. Look how they're treating us. This new millennium slavery. I see them hiding the chains and still beating us daily. And now we mentally poison to fight with black skin. And a bleaching at the ending, far out and far in. Sin